Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It's Garlaanx here bringing you a new Diablo video. And today is the last day of the PTR, the public test realm. I just wanted to have this video in my archives. I essentially wanted to compare what we have coming in Season 4 to what we had or have now, at least on the live servers. Now, I've been playing the Necromancer since the game launched in pre-season, Season 1, 2, 3, and I'll be playing the Necro in Season 4. I'll always be playing the Necro. I was playing the pure damage over time Necro before it became cool, essentially. Now, there are many ways to play the Necro. I myself just prefer the pure damage over time build. And there's two ways to play the damage over time build. You can play Critical Strike, utilizing the Shadow Blight passive, or you play non-Critical Strike and not using the Shadow Blight passive. Well, you still use the Shadow Blight passive, but you're not utilizing it to its potential. You can do a hybrid version of both, but it's just not that good. You have to go either way. You have to really maximize your Critical Strike damage to take effect of that Shadow Blight, or you just go pure DoT. Now, if they ever decided down the road to make damage over time crit-able, then that would be great, but that's just not the case right now. So this is just a video for myself, and I'm just sharing my results, essentially. It's going to be a longer video, most likely. So, again, we are on the public test realm. You can see my statistics here. This is not a maxed out character either. This is not min-maxed. Some things can definitely be better. All of my great gear needs to go to Masterwork 12 still. I just simply didn't have the time. You know, we only had a week of PTR, so I didn't have the time to grind everything and actually maximize the character. And that being said, this thing is just overperforming beyond my expectations. Which also raises another point. You're going to see I'm not using any uniques at all. No uniques, no uber uniques. Unfortunately, that whole system is going to need reworked. Because right now, with the new system coming into play, with the tempering and, you know, legendary gear can have 5 affixes. You know, uniques are kind of obsolete in my opinion. I could see maybe using the Shaco, the Harlequin crest, but even that, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think I'll even be using that, to be honest. So you can see my stats here. I'm at 79,000.6. This build can easily go to 100k, unbuffed. This is just baseline stats. I guarantee I could get 100k. Like I said, this isn't min-maxed. I have to max everything out. Masterwork 12. This could easily be 100k, most definitely. So our main skill is Corpse Explosion, and we're using DoT version. You can see I only have rank 10. I believe on the live servers I have like rank 19 or something. We're going to do a comparison. This first half of the video is going to be the PTR and what's to be expected in the future compared to what we have right now and what's going to be obsolete. So you can see my base damage. DoT damage, 704,000. This actually will go up to like 2.4 million, 2.6 million. We basically crit for anywhere from 10 million to 20 million every half a second, essentially. It's insane amounts of damage. It's just absurd. So if we look at our statistics, my intelligence is insane. 2,200 intelligence. Basically every piece of gear I have, you can and will be utilizing intelligence. All resistance are maxed out. So again, Critical Strike, only 11%. We don't care about that. Critical Strike damage, we don't care about that. We're not going to be using the Shadow Blight. I tested it. I tested it on a Crit Strike build, and it still seems pure DoT does more output damage. Vulnerable damage is nice to have. We only have 58%. That's not a big deal. all damage, 422%. It's insane. Damage with Shadow, 218%. Everything we use is Shadow damage based. And then the big one here. This is where our damage is coming from. Shadow damage over time, 713%. That's insane. That's insane. I don't know off the top of my head what mine currently is on the live servers, but I know damn well it's not anywhere close to 713%. Which is interesting to me because they had to have internally adjusted how damage works. Because even with all these statistics on the PTR server, the gear that I have now on the live server, I'm not outputting that much less damage than I am on PTR. So I don't know if they adjusted some of the overall damage numbers. I'm not 100% sure. But it does seem like on the PTR, damage was nerfed in some kind of way or form, whether they lowered the internal numbers or whatever the case may be. But if I had these statistics on the live server right now, my DOTs would be doing like 40 million damage a tick. So yeah, I don't know what's exactly going on as far as the coding goes. Everything else is irrelevant as far as the damage. Damage versus damage, crowd control, 89%, elite 72%. And then if we look at armor, I believe the armor cap going into Season 4 is only 17,000. I'm well over cap for that. Some people are saying 20,000. I think that's just for the tormented bosses, though, the level 200 bosses. But if you're just doing Pit 200 or Nightmare 100 dungeons, I mean, yeah, this is more than enough armor. Damage reduction, a lot of people were complaining about there's not enough damage reduction in the game. I do agree. I'm still getting one shot every now and then. My damage reduction is only 37%. Dodge chance, 20%, because, again, I have some rolls that we're not necessarily going to be utilizing. And then finally, the only other stat that really matters is our lucky hit chance, and we're at 56%, which in my opinion is too much. I only need probably 40% to be effective. So 56%, although it's nice having 56%, it's not needed. It's just not needed. 40% lucky chance would be great. So that means that like I could re-roll some stuff on the gear. So we're going to go over the gear really quickly, just what I have here on PTR, and you're going to see why I believe uniques and Ubers are just going to be obsolete. Their special effects don't outweigh what we can have. You know, for instance, a lot of Necromancers love the Sacrilegious Soul Ring just because it auto-casts for you. It auto-casts your Corpse Explosion, it auto-casts your Corpse Tendrils. That's just being lazy, okay? You can manually cast all that stuff and still be efficient and play the game. Now, if it had better stats, it would be different. But why in God's name would I use a ring that has HP, Maximum Essence, which we don't need, Lucky Hit, and then the +2 to Corpse skills is actually going to give me less damage than one of these custom-made rings? For instance, just this ring right here, you know, I have 151 intelligence. Yeah, it's a primal rank 1, but then it has damage over time, lucky hit chance, corpse explosion damage, and then the resource cost reduction is irrelevant. But you can't even compare. It's like apples to oranges. Like, these statistics versus custom rings that you can now make are just insignificant. So I'm never going to use Sacrilegious Soul again. I mean, yeah, the utility is nice that you don't have to constantly cast Corpse Explosion and Corpse Tendrils, but the statistics that you're going to lose out on, it's not worth it, unfortunately. So don't be lazy, Necromancers. Manually cast your skills. That's just one instance. And, you know, there's so many unique items, and I don't think any of them are necessary. Now, it might be different for other classes. I don't really play any other class other than the Necro, so there might be items that you have to have that are mandatory for other classes. But in my opinion, I think the overall unique system is going to need a major buffs in some kind of way. I might have a separate video discussing that further. So just looking at these items on preview here, Masterworking 4 out of 12. It is a primal 1 as it's just a random helmet. The helmet doesn't really matter statistic wise, other than you can get corpse explosion size. The chest piece, now I have +3 to corpse explosion. I've seen screenshots of going up to +5 without masterworking, so I'm not sure. If you could get +5 to corpse explosion, not masterwork, not crit, on masterwork, then that's huge. I mean, I don't even have this leveled up at all, actually. This is just a level 0 item right now. And I have Decrepify size on here. Now, the gloves, I do have 12 out of 12. The damage over time is insane. 97% on a primal rank 1 is just insane. I believe one of those actually crit, right? Because you can see which one's crit. So the intelligence crit at 129, the corpse tendrils size crit at 63%, and then I believe I must have crit on the masterworking 12 out of 12 on damage over time as well. But that's insane. I mean, it has lucky hit, damage over time, intelligence, corpse explosion, damage, and corpse tendril size. And then I have a cursed touch on here. So this is insane. And another one of those utility items, like I said, that if you want to discuss it, would be Howl from Below. The statistics don't even come close to these gloves, guys. So instead of detonating immediately, corpse explosion summons the volatile skeleton. It's a heat-seeking corpse explosion, and corpse explosion's damage is increased by up to 40%. Even with that 40%, it's insignificant to what you can, custom roll as far as damage goes. Like, yeah, these are utility gloves, just like this is a utility ring as far as the effects go. But the statistical value on it is, unfortunately, a complete joke. I'm most likely never going to use Howl from Below again either. So, I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully they do update the system. Moving on to the pants, this is where I'm getting that double dodge chance from. 8%, 9% is just what I had on here. Again, this can be min-maxed to something better, most likely. It has corpse explosion size on here again, and then it is a primal 1 with intelligence. And I have, what do I have on here? Your minions, you and your minions gain damage reduction, which is huge. This is one of the few aspects that we have in the game where you can get DR from. Boots, this is where I have Voidwalker. Again, primal, rank 1 intelligence. I mean, essentially, you're going to want primal rank 3 of everything if you're lucky enough to get that. So this does have corpse skills on it. Which is interesting, and I did crit on this, but it didn't go up. I actually already had 2 ranks to corpse skills on it. I ended up critting on it for the first masterwork level, but it didn't increase it to a rank 3. So that's kind of poopy caca right there. Because I think it only increases by 25%. So 25% is not enough to push it to one more rank. Maybe you have to crit on it again, so when you do Masterwork level 8, and if you crit on it again, it goes up. I don't like that. I just don't agree with that. If you crit on one of these skills, I think it should automatically go up. Now, the weapon is definitely going to be a topic of discussion here, because I'm a big fan of Black River, especially on the live servers right now. There's no better weapon if you're playing DoT than Black River. Just the statistics on Black River on the live servers are just too good. You get so many bonuses from it. Now, I don't know, because I don't have a Black River on PTR right now. I didn't have the time to farm one. But I still think these custom-made items are going to even outweigh the Black River, unfortunately. We're going to use a wand to utilize more lucky hit chance. And then we have intelligence, damage over time, and then we temper more damage onto it. And then for me, currently, I have the elemental damage on here because on PTR I was abusing, Ebon Piercer to get through content faster. that's a whole different video by itself. Necklace, again, this is only Masterwork 7. I didn't have enough time to farm materials to push it all the way, but it had a primal rank 1 intelligence roll on it, and I've now gotten that up to 13% intelligence. That's huge. I mean, I'm getting so much intel. How much intelligence am I getting? Almost like 300, like 250 intelligence just from this necklace, I believe, right? 1960 to like 22 something. This is almost like 250 intelligence by itself. That's absolutely insane. I do have movement speed on here. That's not ideal, but you know, it is what it is. Damage, shadow damage over time again, and then decrepify size. Both rings, ideally, I would want to roll the same. I would want, you know, intelligence, damage, and damage over time. Because again, I have too much lucky hit in my opinion. So the first ring, for instance, has lucky hit on it. I would like that just to be a damage roll. So this one's, for instance, is a primal rank 1. It has the intelligence primal. Then damage over time, lucky hit, corpse explosion, damage, and then the resource cost is insignificant. You would want 2 of those essentially. So this is what you would want. You would want intelligence, damage, damage over time, then roll more damage over time on it. And then again, I have resource generation, which is insignificant. Yeah, just insane statistics on PTR right now. Finally, the offhand. Again, I could possibly even take the lucky hit off the offhand for something else. I don't know what at this point. But intelligence, damage, lucky hit, tempered with shadow damage over time. And then again, I do have that elemental damage on here currently because I was just abusing the hell out of Ebon Piercer. So yeah, guys, that's the gear. Those are the base stats. Like I said, hopefully my game doesn't crash here. Let's hit some dummies here and try to show you guys what kind of damage we're actually doing here. So open with Blight, obviously, get some stuff going here. Hopefully, I said we don't, you know, end up crashing. So get that DoT damage. There was 12 mil there, you know, 8 mil, 9 mil is static. 7 mil, 9 mil, 8 mil, 7, 8, 9, 4. It's anywhere from 4 to 12 to 15. The highest I've done in a tick was like 19,000. Like I said, this will go up to 2 point something here. Let's see if we can actually get a reading on it as far as that goes. Make sure we got all our debuffs out, etc. Should go up to about 2.4. Yeah, 2.6. You saw it briefly there. 2.6, 2.619 damage on our DOTs. That's absolutely insane. So yeah, that's a pure DOT. Now, like I said, if we go ahead momentarily look at our skills, so we're not utilizing Shadow Blight, which would be insane. And I did try it on a crit build with like a build that had over 1,000% critical strike damage, and I was expecting to do just astronomical damage with Shadow Blight, and it wasn't doing it for some reason. Unfortunately, you can't really make a hybrid build work. You either have to spec all the way into critical strike, critical damage, with sprinkled shadow damage over time to boost Shadow Blight. In a, you know, fantasy world, if we had more Paragon points and I could use more Paragon boards and I would be able to like somehow get like the critical strike damage glyphs in and everything, I would love to see what kind of output I would have with a current bonus of 713%. But we're not utilizing that. We just want the pure DOT damage. So, for instance, our Wither board here, we have a 41% chance to deal an additional 194% bonus damage with our shadow over time, or our shadow damage over time. So that's just insane. So that's going to wrap it up for the PTR. Again, this was the last day of PTR until Season 4 launches next month. So I'm excited. I'm not excited that I have to farm all this gear over again. But we're going to hop over to the next section of this video where we're going to go to the live server and then compare to what we have right now versus what we're going to have. And then we'll kind of like make some sort of judgment here. You know, it is what it is. Alright guys, and here we are actually on the live servers. Now we're on the Eternal Realm. This is pretty much almost a maxed out character at this point. Almost perfect rolls on gear, etc. like that. We're going to quickly go over it. I know I spent 20 minutes on the PTR section. I don't want to do that on the live section because I want to compare everything at the end. So just to take a glimpse of the live server stats here, like my attack power, we're sitting at 36k baseline compared to, you know, almost the 80,000 on PTR. Intelligence is a big one. We almost have double the intelligence on PTR because every piece of gear on PTR can have intelligence on it. So that's a huge chunk of damage that we're missing out on the live server. So I think we're at 2,200, a little over 2,200, which hits a break point, and only 1,034 on live. As far as Corpse Explosion goes, our baseline damage is only 202,000. Our Corpse Explosion rank is rank 23. So we are using uniques and uber uniques on live compared to not using any of them on PTR. If we look at our statistics here, of course the main ones, again, vulnerable damage. The all damage is only 193. Damage with shadows 233. Damage with shadow over time is only 143. 143% compared to the PTR damage of over 700%. So, yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Looking at our lucky hit, 40% compared to, I think we were, like I said, we were 56%, which in my opinion is too much. 40% is a good number. I mean, in reality, you want as much lucky hit as you can get. However, to be efficient and move statistics around, etc., 40% is more than enough. So very quickly, yeah, we're going to go over the gear here. I'm using the Shaco just for the +4 rank to all skills. Nothing impressive here on my chest piece here. We do have a raw damage amount. And then again, we're using Howl from Below on the live servers for that, you know, up to a 40% chance. I have a 34% chance, but it's that heat-seeking effect that we liked. Leggings, again, nothing too important other than you can get +4 ranks of Corpse Explosion on live. You can't get this on PTR any longer. It's not a roll any longer on the legs. Now, for whatever reason, it's on the chest piece. Boots, nothing special again. However, we do have the corpse tendrils. And then, again, like I said on the PTR, the topic of discussion is going to be the Black River. Because with the new Masterwork system, if you get a Black River that only has the baseline plus amounts, the additive amounts to the skills, the custom weapons are going to be better than a unique. So, again, I have to reiterate that, you know, a Blizzard going forward is going to have to update the entire unique gear system. I probably will have a separate video on that just for further discussion, but everybody should be familiar with the Black River does. It consumes more corpses to deal more damage, which is nice. This is 1,000% best in slot currently on live servers. However, going forward, you know, we'll have to do testing. I know Otter will, Goblin will, Macro Boy will, you know, I as well. I haven't been as active in the community as I should have been during Diablo 4, but it is what it is. So yeah, Black River. Necklace. Now this necklace that I have currently is just not best in slot. I do actually have a best in slot one, but on Eternal I couldn't find another Shadow Blade roll. This one's not even maxed out. I'm missing 10% on it. But it has damage, all corpse skills, and then plus ranks to fuel to death. What I want to be using is actually this, which is a percentile to intelligence, movement speed, and then the +3 to corpse and +3 to amplified damage. However, again, on PTR, to get these additive bonus ranks, you're going to have to crit on masterwork. Whereas the system we have right now, you just level up your armor 1 to 5 and all the statistics increase. That's not happening on PTR. That's not going to be happening going forward. I think they realized that we were gaining, obviously, too many skill points, essentially. I mean, 23 ranks of Corpse Explosion is just silly, to be honest. And then my rings, again, I am utilizing Sacrilegious Soul on the live servers, but going forward, I don't see me using this. It can roll as a base of +2 to all corpse skills. Then again, to reiterate, on the PTR, I have to Masterwork crit it at least twice to hit that rank 3. Whereas on live, you just level it up 5 ranks and it's getting that +1 bonus. So, yeah, I don't see me using the Sacrilegious Ring. I just don't see it happening. And then another ring with some stats, and then an offhand with some stats. So that's the gear. If we look at Wither, so on live we have 22% and 118%. We have almost double that on PTR. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Let me look at my list real quick here. Went over the stats. So yeah, let's just jump into some damage here. Roll this out. And like I said, you're going to notice that my character on the live servers right now is actually going to output more DPS than the PTR servers. And that doesn't make sense to me because all of my statistics on the PTR preview is almost double what I have currently on the live. Especially the intelligence. One of our main damage sources is our raw statistical value of our intelligence. On PTR, I have almost double that, which is doubling our Wither damage, essentially. So, for some reason, I'm still doing more damage on live compared to PTR. So, again, I don't know if they nerfed maybe the internal numbers on PTR. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I'm going to send a message to Macro and Otter and see their opinions on it. But to me, again, it feels like maybe perhaps they did nerf the internal damage numbers, because I should not be doing more damage on the live servers with the statistics I have compared to the statistics I have on the PTR. Again, the only thing that's actually higher is the raw skill damage. So you're going to tell me that... What do I have here? An extra 13 ranks is giving me that much more damage than those raw statistical numbers. I don't know. We're going to hit some dummies. We're going to analyze the numbers, then we'll wrap up this video with the comparison. Alright guys, so let's go ahead, try to look at the numbers here, then I'll slow down the video, analyze it, and then at the end of the video we're going to compare all of the numbers and see what I think is going on, or I don't know what's going on. So we're just going to go ahead, like I said, we're going to go spam a bunch of numbers here and see what our damage gets up to. Immediately I know the base damage goes higher compared to the PTR. I want to see if we can get over a 19 mil hit, which we should be able to once everything starts procking and everything. We're just keeping our eyes out. Again, I'm going to have to slow everything down and really look. I just saw a 14 mil right there off the rip. But our average numbers are anywhere from 7 to 12, which again is higher than PTR, which doesn't make sense. I mean, it's close. I mean, if you watch the video and me doing this on PTR, then yes, the damage looks about the same, but it's not. We average more 10 to 14 million hits than PTR was doing, I think, like 7 to something. I don't know. We'll look at the numbers at the end here. But like I said, I don't know why. And maybe Macro can answer that. He is a guy that's really into the mathematics of the game and really crunching the numbers. I simply just don't have the time to sit here. I do some internal testing, but not as much as Macro. I mean, huge shout out to Macro. I've been watching him since the game has gone live, etc. Another 15 million hit there. I know this will go 20 plus. I've seen it as high as 25. So it's just RNG, and when all my bonuses are going off, etc. You know, with blight bonuses and everything else. So again, I'll slow this down and watch it. I don't want this to go on forever. Obviously, if we don't get any hits, you guys will just have to take my words for it. This will go to 25 mil. But again, it seems like on PTR, I'm outputting more DPS on PTR, which again just doesn't make sense because on PTR I have way more statistics. So how am I doing more damage on live with almost half of the statistics? It just doesn't make sense, other than they did something internally. They either lowered some baseline numbers. I don't know. I honestly don't know. So we'll have to see when Season 4 launches and going forward when we build the character and see what happens, I guess. So that's enough hitting numbers. I want to see what the corpse explosion damage did here. It should go up to, again, about halfway of what we have on live. I think it goes to like 1 mil. I don't even think we reach 1 mil, to be honest. 824. I think maybe 824 is actually the maximum here. Oh no, I saw a 900 or something when we get some more damage kicking, more damage numbers. So it did go to like 9 something there, 948. So 948 is probably the highest it goes. So I'll slow that down. I'll try to pull some numbers from there, get a screenshot for the end of the video. But again, so you're telling me I'm doing more overall output DoT damage with 23 ranks of corpse explosion, minus all of those other raw statistical values, intelligence being one of the big ones, which means our wither's actually only doing half the damage on live compared to what we were doing on PTR. I don't understand. Like I said, Macro's going to have to run the numbers, maybe see what's going on. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I don't know. I've been playing the DoT Necro before it was cool. I played the DoT Necro since day 1 of the game launch, and we're almost a full year into the game's life cycle. That's all I've ever played was Necromancer, and mainly focus on pure DoT, not the critical version of DoT. So hopefully I didn't miss anything here. We'll compare all the numbers again. We'll wrap this video up, guys. Alright guys, bear with me. I know this was a longer video. If you stuck through it the whole way, leave me a hashtag in the comments, hashtag Necromancer. But yeah, I just wanted to overall compare all of the damage. So if we look at the damage, for instance, and compare it, let me bring it up on the screen here. Oh, and we'll compare the overall damage. So again, you can look at the statistics, and my statistics on PTR far outweigh the current live servers, right? I mean, the base attack power alone, going from almost 80,000, which I guarantee we can hit 100,000. So for people that don't know, that don't play the Necromancer, DoT damage has been broken for a while. It sometimes double dips from the raw damage statistic. So that's why we try to push our, attack power, our base damage as high as we can, because we actually double dip from it. So yeah, on PTR, I almost had 80,000. So maybe they fixed it. Maybe that's the problem of why we're doing less damage on PTR with more statistical value. Again, I don't know if they had tweaked the internal numbers or what the deal is, but again, look at our intelligence. Our intelligence is almost double. Operator Otter did a phenomenal video on breakpoints with Wither. I'll actually link that video in the description of this video. I highly encourage you to watch it if you play a Shadow Necromancer. You don't know how Wither works, as well as Macro Bio Boy. did a video on the breakpoints and why breakpoints are important, so I'll link his video in the description as well. Shout out to both those guys. Again, then look at our raw corpse explosion damage numbers, 704,000 compared to the 202 base. And then it goes up, right? My max corpse explosion damage on PTR was hitting upwards of 2.6 million compared to the 948,000. Makes no sense. This is one of the factors here that maybe is what's doing it, is the extra 13 ranks of corpse explosion. The all damage, the shadow damage, both, well, actually my shadow damage is a little less on PTR compared to live, but that shouldn't matter. The shadow damage over time, look at the number significance. Shadow damage over time, 713% compared to 143%. So if I'm a little Timmy, and I don't know any better, right? And I'm just looking at these numbers, not knowing what these numbers mean. 713 is a whole hell of a lot more than 143. But you have to deep dive, fully understand the mechanics of the game and how the numbers work. So, again, Macro does a phenomenal job at that. Hopefully he can investigate it a little bit. But it is what it is. Lucky hit chance, again, irrelevant. And then the wither chance is, again, another portion of our overall damage. And you can see that it's almost half on live. 41% chance on PTR compared to the 22% chance. And then the damage is almost double. 194% bonus damage on our DoT damage versus the 118% on the live. Now, the damage, again, isn't very far off, but just looking at these baseline numbers, on the PTR, I felt like I should be doing, like I said, 40 million a tick. So DoT damage is, once every 6 seconds, but it ticks twice, right? Every half a second, you're doing a tick. So a full tick would be 1 second, which is 2, minor ticks. So, I feel like I should have been doing astronomical damage on PTR. And again, Operator Otter put out a video showing him doing 160 million in one DoT. Now, I believe he was using Blight. He wasn't using Corpse Explosion, and you can stack Blight on top of itself over and over and over again. So, if you have basically unlimited essence, where you could just stand there and spam Blight on a single target. Yeah, he was able to hit 160 million in one DoT tick. We were basically testing AoE situations with all of the DoT ticks going off at a time. So our average on PTR was like 8 million to 12 million, with like a maximum hit of 9 million, which I was able to capture. If we bring that up here very quickly. Right here, PTR 19 million is highlighted there, 19,097,000. Now that was just the max hit in the moment. Will that go up? Yeah, it could go up, but that's not an average hit. That was everything procced at once. That was big boy damage. 19 mil in one DoT half a second hit is pretty significant. Now I wasn't able, unfortunately, to get anything on live when I was testing in the video. Again, you'll just have to take my word for it, but I have I have hit DOTs up to 24, 25 million. So, unfortunately, I can't prove that, so I'm not going to provide a screenshot with me not being able to prove it. Again, you have to take my word for it. It does happen. So, again, I don't know what's happening. That is basically the video for my archives. If anyone watches this entire video, thank you. I appreciate the support as always. Going forward in Season 4, I do have some things I want to test. For instance, if they did fix how damage works on the Necro DOT and it's not double dipping, do we focus on the raw damage percentile affix, or do we switch to the affix that has like corpse explosion damage or something? That's all stuff that's going to have to be tested in Season 4. I simply just didn't have enough time in 1 week of PTR to test everything that I wanted to test. So that wraps it up for this video. I know it was super long. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and leave them below. And I'll see you guys real soon.